What's up guys, welcome back to ReddyControls. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about writing and reading back from MySQL using Ignition SCADA. What you see here is a simple downtime tracking HMI SCADA page where when you click this write button, the reason code along with the comment gets written into the database and we get a counter back, and then when you click this load historical button, it will give us the last 10 records from MySQL. So without any delay, let's deep dive into how to build this from scratch. So we'll go ahead and close this one, open a new project. And we'll take the belt conveyor project. While that's opening, let's look at some of the prerequisites we need to look at. The first thing we want to make sure, go to your gateway, go to localhost :8088 and go to connections tab on the databases and ensure you have the driver and its status is valid. We'll go ahead and select this one. The most important thing here is just the JDBC driver. If you want to learn more about how to connect Ignition to MySQL, the link to my previous YouTube video will show up on the top right corner now. So right now all I'm doing is configured the connector to connect to ReddyControls, and as long as your connector is valid, status is valid, we are good to go. There is nothing we should do on the gateway. The other thing we want to ensure is go back to the project settings under gate project properties, ensure the database setting is set to MySQL. Typically it will set to a sample SQLite database. By default that's a sample database within Ignition, but we want it to use MySQL, so we select that one. Once you have that one, we say okay. Here we'll go ahead and create a new window. I'm using Vision, so I'll go back under Vision, under components, and say under Windows, right click, main window. We give it window name as Downtime. Create window. Once we have the window, we're going to drop elements for reading and writing, right? We'll first start with the writing. To write into the database, we need a trigger event, and in this case our trigger event will be a button. So we'll go ahead and place a button, and we just drop it here and we call it a write button. And then we also need the other thing we want to do is a drop down list. So we'll just select drop and insert drop down, and we just call it as a machine status drop down, and then we go ahead and one. So value 0 is for stopped, machine stopped, and then we'll add one more state for running, and the value is 1. And then we add a 2, which is starved. That means the machine is ready to run, but there is no product from upstream coming to this machine. And then the other status is 3, which is blocked. That means the machine has product, but it cannot send it to downstream because something blocked it from the downstream machine. And status 4 would be other, which is either we are running slow or limping condition or a planned or we could just say planned downtime. Let's call it planned downtime. We could add all the reason codes, and we could say unplanned downtime. Say okay. Right, and now if we preview this one, you could see all the reason codes or machine status drop down. Okay, we'll stop that one. We ensure this is a capital M. Okay. The other thing we need is a reason code. Reason code is just a comment box. So we'll just put a text entry. We take a text field and we just call the text field as reason code input. Okay, so we have all the things we need to write into the database, and before we write into the database we need to ensure we have data table for that database. We want to check and confirm we have the table created where this data will go. We'll go ahead and go to MySQL workbench and run this query to create a table called Ignition data, which has a ID column, which is a auto increment integer data type, and it's a primary key, and we have a machine status, and this machine status is nothing but the drop down status from Ignition drop down list, and then the reason code is the comment from Ignition text box. And then we have a timestamp for default current timestamp. So we'll go ahead and create this. And go ahead and refresh the schemas to see the table being created. Now we have the table created. We'll go ahead and configure this button. So we'll go ahead and right click the button, scripting, come back in. And under action performed, go to script editor, and we going to add our script into this one. So let's look at this script briefly. What this script does is it takes the machine status and reason code. Machine status is a variable that gets its information from the drop down that we just created. Reason code gets it from the reason code input text box that we created in Ignition. Once we have both of them, if they have an entry in them, we're going to do something called a prepared query. We create a prepared query called insert into Ignition data. This is the data table that we created in Ignition, and we're going to pass we're going to insert into machine status column and reason code column. Those are so that would be the machine status column and reason code column. We're going to insert into that. And then we execute system.db run prep update, and we pass query into that, and then we pass the values coming from the drop down and the text box called machine underscore status and reason underscore code. That's what these values is. So rather than this is how you use prep query. So you prepare the query and then pass the values from Ignition into the database. Okay, so we'll go ahead and copy this for now, and then we fetch the latest ID counter. Once we have a successful write, we'll go ahead and get a counter back, display it on the counter from Ignition. So for that we need to create a component called counter display. So we'll go ahead and add one more counter called let's take a display, and we just call it a display counter, and that's that counter display, sorry. So counter display, it's counter display. All right, so we'll go back to our notepad, copy it, and right click scripting, action performed. Our action performed is the right click, is clicking that. So we go ahead and select this one. Make sure you select action performed, and then under script editor, Control V that, apply, okay. Then we'll try to test it and see. And before you test it, ensure you are in read write mode up here, and go ahead and put it in preview mode. We say running, we just say running now, and we hit button. It inserted new data with ID 5, and we can check that by going back into MySQL workbench, and we just execute this one. We have machine running, which is working. So that's how you write into the database. And now reading back the last 10 rows of the from the data table, we can do a similar concept, and I will show you that about how to read. If you have liked this video until now, please like, subscribe, and share this video. This video doesn't cost you anything, but if you would like to help me out, you can increase its reach by hitting the like button, leaving a random comment, and subscribing if you haven't already. So let's get back into reading the data back from the database. For that, we'll run this query, and to make that query work, we need so we do the same, we do prep a query, and this is the prep query where we select machine status and reason code, comma time from the ignition data, and we order by ID, descending limit 10, and the result of that query, when we run that query using system.db run query, we store it in a result, and that result is a list. And then we do a if statement where we take the data set and we convert the result into a data set, and we break it down as machine status, reason code, timestamp. Whatever we get from the result, we break it down into this, and then we display them into a data table on the Ignition side. So we'll go ahead and create a table called data table, and then we need to also create a read data button. So we'll go ahead and add a component called just let's put a button again, and we drop it here, and we call that button as a read data button. So we go back here and read data. We can make it big, and if you want to make it big, just go ahead and increase the size to 15. Read button, and then we want to drop a table to display the results, and we just call it a data table. So type table in the component palette, and I selected table and drag and drop it here. That goes to the page. And now for the table name, just call it as data table. Alright, and now we go ahead and script this button just for readability sake. Let's say we call the test as read last 10 history from MySQL. We just call it that. That way it's easy to see. So we right click again, go ahead and script that, go to scripting. Again, we want to do it on action performed. We go to script editor and we copy paste the script. And we just Control C that, Control V, apply, OK, and go back into preview mode and read data, and it shows historical data is loaded. So that's it, guys. That's how you read and write from Ignition. This is a useful application. You could use this to track downtime on the machine. So once you have this data, it opens up all kinds of opportunities to do data analysis. So you can see this is the data that we just entered. That's all for today's tutorial. If you have just learned how to write data into the MySQL and how to read data from MySQL using Ignition SCADA HMI. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, drop a comment, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.